folks, please take a good look at the little Serbia that could. In the last video, we won a war against the Ottomans with sheer willpower and essentially infinite horses, but don't tell anybody about this, creating a Serbia that didn't gain just one, not two, but three states on top of what it already had. We finally have a port, we finally have coal, and we finally are a pretty strong theocracy. Patriarch Dragan here should be thanked, I think, for everything that has been done. We are now a much more modernized, I should say, Serbia, although of course we are a theocracy that is also an autocracy. It's a weird time, but most importantly it makes it so that we have a shot. It's 1862, and because of the turmoil that was going on in Europe, we have expanded much earlier than I thought we would. And now we need to calm things down, we need to make sure that we can pacify the region, and of course build a new kingdom, well, a new theocracy that really deserves the name, potentially, of Yugoslavia. See, there are some interesting knickknacks that we rarely ever see because, well, Serbia doesn't really expand. When we, for example, take a look at southern Serbia, we can see, for example, Bosniaks. Bosniaks are, well, in plenty of regions right here in our new territory, and actually exclusively in our territory. They don't live anywhere else. Now, these folks have 50% turmoil, which means that they will be rebelling. But don't worry about it, because they are not discriminated. We are still on national supremacy, but since we are South Slavs, so Yugoslavs, we're looking at a location where we can absorb Croatians, Serbians, Bulgarians, Slovenes, and Bosniaks into our state without discriminating them. This means that the only thing that is currently in a position where we might be discriminating this population is religion. We're looking at Sunni pops right here, quite a few, obvious, it's Bosnia, right? Then we have southern Serbia, also quite a few Sunnis, and then right here, quite a few Sunnis also. Now, when I take a look at this country, what I see is a confederation of the peoples. That is the goal anyway. Yes, Serbian nationalism plays a role. Yes, who we are as a country plays a role, but Patriarch Dragan is the patriarch of all good Orthodox people here in the southern Slav region. But okay, so that is everything for the population living in our new territories. They are pretty friendly, and there should be a path where we can indeed pacify them very easily. Now, what we are also looking at, though, and I think this is quite important, is that these are pretty bad states. I mean, yes, they got coal, they got lead. That is huge, don't get me wrong here. But they aren't built up at all. We have 59% of our GDP in the territory we owned before we marched in here, 14% here, 23% here, that is 2% down there. I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm looking at this and I'm saying obviously we need to build this up, but we now have a two-tier country in many ways. Just look at literacy. What happened to literacy, you might be asking? The answer is that I had a decree here. And of course, we also went really hard on the religious school education institution, making it so that we have a really great literacy rate in our core territory. Yeah, and the rest not so much. We gotta work on this, we gotta equalize this, and we gotta get the people going, because we don't have that much in terms of population. It's better than before, but it could be even better, and that is exactly what matters now. We need to make the most out of the population we have. Alright, but first things first. I think, I was looking at this, Europe is still busy, they're still fighting in Germany, it looks as though Prussia is indeed going to lose this, which may mean Germany never happens, but I also spotted, hey listen, Montenegro is not too dissimilar from us. They are also a theocracy, they are also Orthodox, they are also Serbian. I think I'm gonna make you a vassal. Why could I not conquer you? I just want to check here, right? Conquer state, are less than cordial, right. We are friends with them, but I do think that it is time that you come and join the fold of this confederacy. My plan here is to basically give them my part of Montenegro, and maybe later on we will integrate Montenegro properly. For the time being, though, I would like them to be a protectorate so that we are a genuine confederation of the people in this area. It will also mean, just for the record, didn't have any strong feelings about this, that I won't have to deal with this famine anymore. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead, obviously gonna put some decrees down here. We are the church, we want to aid everybody that we can, and we're gonna try and get this done right away here. Listen, we are in a disastrous spot when it comes to the livability of our territory. I will also, of course, go on and actually mobilize you, yada. We need to build this territory up, no two ways about it. Oh, and look at this right here. The Austrians are marching into Brandenburg. Berlin will fall, and of course with that, the immediate ambitions by the Prussians, they're gone. This is over. Germany may just remain exclusively a geographic term. Alright, we do now have Montenegro as a protectorate, and I will immediately show them my goodwill and say, indeed, I want this to be a confederation. We are a confederacy of theocracies. This is very important to me, and because of this, I'm going to give you the whole state. I do also hope that they actually do build up a port, because right now we got nothing. I can't trade with them at all. This is very, very useless to me anyway. Like, this territory sucks, okay? If it means not having a port for some time longer, we can live with it. It's completely fine. Maybe Montenegro wants to build that up, though. Would be beautiful. Oh, and I do actually like that this immediately turned them loyal. You love to see it. And yep, there you go. Austria Hungary has won the war, and because of that has forced the South German countries into one confederation. Der Süddeutsche Bund, or the South German Federation, has now been founded as a dominion of Austria Hungary. Now I can tell you, because I wrote the AI strategy, that this doesn't have to be the end of Germany. Prussia has a shot here at forming the NGF as a counter-proposal, and if they do, they might just transfer the SGF into their possession, and if that happens, indeed, Germany will of course be founded. Now, we are a long way away from this, but it is an opportunity. It does mean that our dear neighbor, Austria-Hungary, is quite powerful and shall remain quite powerful. We're going to see how that goes. For the time being, of course, the Prussian market is still quite solid, and they indeed may reform into the NGF. We're going to keep an eye on this. Oh, and as though there was no other issue, we already vanquished it, just for the record. We were a very suppressive theocracy, but Montenegro now has liberal agitators that are demanding more freedoms. Unless stamped out or compromised with, this may lead to a revolution. Let me take a look at your laws here. You know what I would like? I would like if you reformed into something slightly more stomachable if possible. All of this is fine. Who's in your government? It's just the landowner. Oh, that really... Yeah, that really sucks, you know that? I would like you to reform out of traditionalism, and obviously we can't do that because, yes, currently they are still trapped into this by virtue of just having the landowners in the position of power. That really sucks. Let's leave them be. We have other fish to fry, but this will eventually come back to bite us, I think, because Montenegro should be more on our path rather than a truly, purely reactionary one. Oof, okay. And here we now have something that may be trouble. Nihilism. An anti-clerical and anti-monarchist movement known as nihilism has taken hold among the intelligentsia. Led by Dejan Vukotic, these dangerous thinkers are sure to be a thorn in the side of the status quo. They are an affront to all that is righteous about a nation. All that escapes their lips is treason of the highest order. Never before have we seen such brazen disregard for our divine right to rule. They are the greatest possible threat to society. Do not worry, my liege, these men are nihilists. There's nothing to be afraid of. Perhaps they have a point, or this is treason. Heresy. We will obviously suppress it. We will work on that. We will try to push into that direction. Yeah. I'm gonna say this is treason, heresy. Obviously, we still have to deal with it. We have step-up panic here. Wait a minute. Oh, my God. Wait a minute. Where are the nihilists? Oh, there is the nihilist. Dejan Vukotic. He's a demagogue, and he is charismatic. He has popularity of 110. Now, this journal entry is interesting. We have had it once. I believe it was either in Spain or Italy. Honestly, I can't even recall. But we had it once since we started playing in the open beta here. And I heard that this is an amazing journal entry if it times out. So I'm not saying I will work towards this, but I want to have a bit of a slower approach. Maybe the machinery of the theocracy doesn't see this as an issue yet. I obviously can pass censorship, and we may very well do this, but I would like to see it escalating a bit. There are some interesting things here as I understand it, so that is what we are taking a look here. This is basically a movement that says we live in such a terrible world because we are ruled by these people that justify everything with God. And well, this is just awful. And I mean, just look at the people being mad at us, although it has gone down quite significantly, mind you. But yeah, I understand why people would maybe feel this way. Alright, and what do we have here then? Condemnations of the Children. A popular member of the Serb intelligentsia has released a novel condemning the trend of nihilistic excess amongst the youth. The main character, professing vocal nihilism, bears a resemblance to Dejan Vukotic. So we basically have internal fighting in the streams of the intelligentsia. Now, I will point out, the intelligentsia isn't very important as things are anyway, but they are very important if we consider their impact on political movements. A lot of people, like I said, in this country can read, and a lot of people want to talk about politics now. So having two agitators and both of them being intelligentsia is mad. It is... obviously quite the impact that they have. Right, so maybe the intelligentsia will say nihilism actually does suck and this influencer is wrong. At least one of them has some sense, or isn't the main character dashing though? Right, I could endorse it. I'm gonna go on. Honestly, I don't even care for royalists. This just doesn't really make a lot of sense. I'm gonna go ahead and say, isn't the main character dashing though? I'm gonna give this guy, you know, some more popularity. Maybe people actually, this kind of backfires. The church is now getting more active, more understanding of, hey, wait a minute, they are having a bit of an ideological fight there. We hate both of them. Maybe we gotta do something about it. An interesting angle. God, it is just exciting to see that we have railways here. I didn't even build these, just for the record. These were built by our capitalists. But it's also, at the same time, very humbling if we take a look at the entire rest of our location. Oh, and look at that. You seem to have a bit of a problem. Wait a minute, what's going on in Montenegro? They have propertied women. Interesting. If they have a rebellion, we will clearly come to the aid of our good friends here. Even though I do not love the landowners, I love them more than the trade unionists and, of course, the intelligentsia. And then here we have a deficit of respect. A woman affiliated with the aristocrats of the landowners has angrily reported an incident of a group of students refusing to stand aside for her on the side of the road and teasing her as she walked by. You really have to understand, I guess, that we were so repressive, we completely destroyed the Republican movement, a movement that wanted elections and so on. So now we have a much more radicalized, potentially, I would say, a student body. We have a much more radicalized university body. And we can see that now right here. Have you no respect at all? What does it matter if your skirts must trail in the snow? Their worth is the same whether they're stained or not, the same value as any such garment. The authorities will hear of this. The sneers of the students with their shaggy hair and back coats followed her as she hurried away, red-faced. Right, how far can these nihilists' depravity go? Or hardly a matter for the legal system. I think this is the last straw though. The social order is eroding, and I think the church is going to start clamping down here now a little bit. This basically puts me into a position where I'm very close to start initiating passing censorship. And yep, there they are. The radicals are rising up in Montenegro, and obviously we're gonna suppress this, but theocracy is being challenged both here and there. It is a worrying trend, in particular, I guess, with the Roman Republic in mind. I mean, yeah, these guys exist now, and I do not like it one bit. Oh, and we do now actually have our very first company as well. This is the Serb Forestries, and currently it's not actually really working out for us. I don't love this. So this movement, I don't really want to give into it, because clearly this is what the nihilists want. This is what these beasts want, but they're all reformers. Oh my god, every last one of them is a reformer. I could maybe, if I take one of them into government, I might be able to just give them compulsory primary school, or at the very least restricted child labor, something like that anyway. I don't think we need to liberalize here. We're not really discriminating against anybody. Let me check this. How many people are we actually discriminating against? 3.2% and then another 0.2. It's basically nobody, right? So the way I see this, I don't really want to give in there, but we do care for the children. Don't get me wrong here, I care a great many deals about the children. This is kind of tempting though, right? I just don't really have the potential in terms of bureaucracy, but this is tempting. You know, I'm gonna counteract this right now. Let's do censorship. I've had enough of this pleading nonsense. These bleeding hearts can absolutely disappear into nothingness as far as I am concerned. Yeah, what is going on right here? Unholy activities. A group of nihilist students has carried out an obscene and outlandish protest in front of a church, prompting demands by the Orthodox Church to hold these activities by force. Yeah, as I told you, this is what broke the camel's back. We're now at a position where we have to act on this. Nihilism is no longer just this fad. No, it has to be opposed. The vicar, standing outside to sweep the path to the entryway of his church, could only stare in shock as the exultant students dressed as clergy untied and flung their frocks into the air. Dark cloth formed brief clouds in the air. At the sight of their bare flesh, he turned his head and shielded his vision with his hands. Do you have no sense at all? Track down everyone involved and charge them with blasphemy. How do they expect us to identify the perpetrators? No. I will track every last one of them down. Absolutely. Oh, and hello, look at who has arrived. It is Romania. And they now want a defensive pact with us. I mean, we have a common enemy. It's just that simple. Come on, really? I thought we all had a common enemy. Why do you all like the Ottoman Empire? Ugh. Really, Romania? Well, they didn't come in against us last time. That's actually an interesting point. The United Principalities did not aid the Ottomans here. Maybe we can move them into our position. Honestly, I would rather have Romania as a friend than Greece. Yeah, I'm just gonna make that clear. Romania is a better alliance for us than Greece. That much is obvious. Ooh. Now, the US are not freedom fighters here by any means, but they are attacking, and I'm pretty sure they're going to clean house with the Mexicans. They have already been given the Oregon Treaty territory. That's good for them. Interesting. Other than that, honestly, just looking around, this looks pretty normal. Brazil won both of their wars, actually, as they so often do in this particular mod setup. The Prussians, interestingly enough, have not founded the NGF. I suspect, I don't quite remember that decision, I suspect it is because they are merely a major power, rather than a great power. The wedge in the academia. What do we have here? With a rise in discontent amongst the academia, a new, proudly nihilist leader of the intelligentsia has come to the fore. So because I didn't suppress it enough, the intelligentsia went from debating whether nihilism is good or bad and actually fighting over it to just saying nihilism is good. The life of a limited person almost always flows more smoothly and pleasantly than the life of a genius or even just an intelligent person. Clever people do not get along with those phenomena to which the masses become accustomed without the slightest difficulty. Intelligent people, depending on the various conditions of temperament and development, are in the most heterogeneous relationship to these phenomena. Keep a close eye on him, or perhaps he is simply a product of our actions. I'm gonna say maybe he is just a simple product of our actions, because we are passing censorship. Maybe we can get rid of them before it becomes too much. But we now have a nihilist here, and I mean, you see the movement yourself. This theocracy, as much as it has been successful against the Ottomans, and as much as it threw out the old order of the landowners, it now is the old order. It now is in a position where our standard of living is bad, our actual literacy rate isn't great. Maybe this theocracy is not lasting. Alright, and what the hell is this? Black coats and Feuerbach. Students embracing the aesthetic and attitude of nihilism have become more and more common at the Northern Serbia University, and numerous parties have raised concern about radicalism in academia. The tiny space I occupy is so infinitely small in comparison with the rest of space in which I am not, and which has nothing to do with me, and the period of time in which it is my lot to live is so petty beside the eternity in which I have not been, and shall not be, and in this atom, this mathematical point, the blood is circulating, the brain is working and wanting something. Isn't it loathsome? Isn't it petty? Hey, we gotta really clamp down on them. We're still passing censorship, we have that academia there. No way that we can give them any more rights. But at the very least, we have something positive to report, and that is an official nationality. The state policy of religion, autocracy, and nationality has become the ubiquitous ideology of the Serb people. There are few who dare to question the absolute authority of the patriarch. They are very loud right now, but they are very few. In a state where love for patriarchs and devotion to the throne are based on the native characteristics of the people, where there are laws of the fatherland and firmness in administration, all efforts of the evil intention will be in vain and insane. This is the reaction. I think we can interpret this in 100% basically. All hail the patriarch, the Serbian people are supreme, or the Orthodox Church shows us the way. Ooh, I love conversion rate. My god, I love conversion rate. Let me double check this right now. How many are we getting every single month? 3,000. That is not all that much. I nerfed the natural conversion rate in VTM, but I upped it if you have religious schools, which of course we do. Let me check this, right? If I check for Sunni, 2.4k, 662,000. I think I'm gonna put this up. All hail the patriarch. The Serbian people are supreme. The Orthodox Church shows us the way. Then again, I mean, no, okay, actually, this is the natural reaction, I think, to nihilism. The Orthodox Church and, of course, the Patriarch are saying, we are unified under conversion. To be loyal means to be Orthodox, to be a subject of the Patriarch. The Patriarch's personality, I don't think is that important. But I don't think that we have been very, very, straightforward with emphasizing Serbian nationality. So instead, yeah, let's go with this right here, and maybe let's get some more conversions in there. And just as we were talking about it, we now have censorship, and isn't it gorgeous? Beautiful. But yeah, you can see right here, our power as a regime is actually kind of being eroded here. I mean, the armed forces were in government, and they are now Republicans. Obviously, that isn't working for us. We could invite the rural folks. You know what? I'm gonna give you an inch, okay? I'm gonna invite the rural folks into my government, and then I'm gonna say, oh, I didn't even notice this. You're also a reformer. They're all reformers. Oh my god. Okay, together with the rural folks, I will now reform into restricted child labor. Obviously, compulsory primary school doesn't mean anything to me. No. Restricted child labor, maybe, is one of those steps where we can say, don't rebel against me and don't give up on the patriarchy just yet. Although I will say, it is extremely worrisome that the industrialists are as powerful as they are. I mean, look at this. I'm not empowering them. I didn't do anything in their favor. They just rose up to 27% of the clout. I don't like it. And what is this? Chaos on the courtyard. I can really tell that this journal entry does have a ton of events, which is crazy to me because, well, it seems to be a fairly small one, right? Nihilism wasn't that big. I know it was huge in Russia, but in other countries we already were in different phases. Springtime of the People, of course, dominated the discourse there around the God-given power of whoever was controlling society. Let's take a look at this. In visiting Northern Serbia University, Dejan Vukotic has stirred up an impressive crowd of students and disrupted the activities of several people affiliated with the Orthodox Church. The performer on the soapbox turned their attention to several unlucky souls in the clothing of the upper class and stretched out an arm. See them as they walk by, those agents of nefarious superstition. Yes, see how they hide their faces in shame. The truth is that they're no better than any of us. I gotta tell you, we are having a setup here of a long-term rivalry between the Orthodox Church and religion itself with the intelligentsia. That is important to point out. Religion itself is on trial here. When we were the Roman Republic in the last playthrough, that was a potential as well. We were at some point drifting towards state atheism, but it never became the defining question of the intelligentsia. But since we are a theocracy, since this is going on, yeah, I think that if the intelligentsia were to come to power, they would surely go into the direction indeed of state atheism, not just of total separation. Enough with this nonsense, break up the demonstration, or we cannot deny it was a good show. Ooh, I mean, I like that, but honestly, I'm fine with this. Enough with this nonsense, break up the demonstration. We are taking a stand against this, at least for the time being. Yeah, and just take a look at that. The Americans have taken apart the Mexicans. Obviously, with their artillery against the infantry, I mean, it's out of the question of the Mexicans to defend that, and yeah, there you go. The United States of America, interestingly enough, again, is it still a Luddite? That is the huge question. Oh my god, it is still that Luddite. If they actually pass industry ban, I would lose my mind. It would be insane. It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing, so I'll let it slide, but oh my god, that would be insane. Ooh, and just like I said, look at what finally happened. They must have got Mech to great power and then influenced everybody else to indeed agree to this particular proposal. The NGF has emerged. King Oscar von Hohenzollern here may yet be ready at some point to strike against Austria Hungary. I, in the meantime, have to fight yet another Montenegrin rebellion, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm gonna take away their freedom bit by bit. I think they have shown to be unstable, but then again, in all fairness, I'm pretty sure they're going through Springtime of the People, so yeah, very destabilized. In the dead of night, a group of nihilists have committed arson against the government administration building in northern Serbia, leading to it being severely damaged by fire. You cry out with rage when empty buildings burn, but where are your tears when men and women with full hearts perish from hunger? Well, okay, that's fair enough. That's honestly, that sounds pretty fair, but they will rebuild what they destroyed in prison. Oh, I could shutter the classrooms. Kissed by flame. Ooh, I hate the throughput. Oh, yeah, that's nasty. That's really bad. Oh my god, okay. Obviously, I'm gonna shut down the entire school. I cannot let them further mingle and plan whatever they may be planning, but it does also mean that I need more bureaucracy. I need more government buildings because right now it's costing me a lot of money. Now, I do like this. Restricted child labor being passed is huge for us and I think should lead us into the right direction, hopefully taking away the steam from this movement. And oh boy, here we now have a big one. The Bulgarian Uprising is upon us, and I'm not sure whether the Bulgarians can be salvaged here. But the Austrians have their own war. And this is a huge war. Jesus Christ. Okay, wait a minute. Conquer Tunisia. Transfer Constantine. Open British market, humiliate. So the British are trying to expand into the North African region, and everybody else is attempting to stop them. The Austrians were indeed allied to the French, which now might make it so, oh my god. Are the Ottomans on their own again? They have a defensive pact with Romania? Come on, Romania. we'll see, okay? If people jump in immediately, we're not gonna help them. If they don't jump in immediately, we may be able to safeguard the Bulgarians here. It depends on what they offer, but we'll see. Wow. Bulgaria basically has nothing to offer for us. Like, at all. They're not willing to give us anything. I mean, in that case, I gotta keep an eye on this, because chances are nobody else jumps in, you know, for the Ottomans here. And if that is the case, I would like to claim Albania. I mean, I would love to claim it. Let me check this. Yeah, no. I think I'm gonna stay neutral here. They just don't want to give us anything, and I'm not coming in for free. I mean, come on, that's ridiculous. Albania would be pretty sweet, even if just, again, as a vassal. That is, you know, at least partially the point here as well, of course. We can't administrate everything directly. Then again, Albania would spawn Sunni. I don't think we could let that happen. It's the same with Bosnia. I would like to release Bosnia, but seeing as we are a theocracy, obviously that's just not viable. And oh boy, this is now looking more and more like this is the first genuine Balkans War. We are looking at a situation where the Greeks are now also rising up. Maybe they offer me something, maybe they don't offer me something, but I know one singular thing. If this entire territory fell away from the Ottomans, them opposing us would be much less likely. Or well, much less possible, I should say. I can't really reach them until, you know, we can go through Albania, but I think we're gonna side with the Greeks. I didn't side with the Bulgarians, just for the record, because they, well, I mean, I won Macedonia. Sorry to say this, but I think I'm gonna side with the Greeks. Oh my god, they have even less to offer. This is just insulting, I'm sorry. I don't think I can side with them. I'm not gonna do it, I'm sorry. And you know what? I think Britain actually bit off too much. They're opposing France, Austria, Spain, and Morocco. And it looks as though they might actually be losing Gibraltar here? That would be wild. I mean, that would be wild if that actually were to happen here. Nothing is stopping them from being capitulatable, so maybe. Then again, they are also actually, I mean, I don't know. It's a tough one, but I can see them get this done here. And I mean, Britain already is underperforming in this. They did not actually claim, they didn't go against the Great Qing here. And as much as I am also underperforming because I'm not going in against the Ottomans here, hey, I mean, it could be worse for us. We could be Britain. Ooh, yeah, it's basically the Balkan Wars here, huh? We got an Albanian uprising back to back to back. And they're all failing, just for the record, and I'm not exactly intervening, but I'm gonna sit this one out. I'm sorry, okay? The Balkan peoples are fighting for freedom. But I'm not really fighting for their freedom. It's not about that for me here. Ooh, and interesting. So North Germany hasn't done much. They are waiting and they are very hostile. If you take a look at this right here, look at that. Yep, they want to conquer Austria Hungary. But now they're having a democratic rebellion. And this could be a really, really close one. Radical North Germany also has the potential to really actually do something, because they have a lot lying around in terms of GDP, and they will be very aggressive towards the towards the SGF and Austria. We'll see how that goes. But first things first, the nihilistic journal entry has been closed. Let's take a look at what that means. It timed out. We neither completed nor failed it. It just timed out into oblivion. The conflict within the nihilist movement has finally led it to burn itself out, but the spirit of radicalism is not gone. Former nihilists have flocked into other radical movements in droves. Oh, interesting. You think I'm attacking them for talking nonsense? Not a bit. I like them to talk nonsense. That's man's one privilege over all creation. Through error, you come to the truth. I am a man because I err. You never reach any truth without making 14 mistakes, and very likely 114. And a fine thing too in its way. But we can't even make mistakes on our own account. Talk nonsense, but talk your own nonsense, and I will kiss you for it. To go wrong in one's own way is better than to go right in someone else's. Only a taste of the conflict to come, Dejan Vukotic will change ideology to communist. Oh, or let them fade into the past. No, I'm gonna say, only a taste of the conflict to come. I think that is true. I think that is exactly what is happening here. And it appears that we now actually have a communist amongst us. Oh lord. And this actually instantly opened up the journal entry oppressor and oppressed. So I can see it. This is for very, very reactionary nations. I get the nihilist content now. That makes a lot of sense. You would normally fail this, or well, you would let it time out as Russia. That is just how it would go. And if that happens, you will immediately stumble into communism, or well, into the specter haunting the world, which is one of my new favorite journal entries because it has a lot going on. We're going to see that in a second. As the industries have grown more and more crucial to the future of the Serb nation, so too has the working class. Disparate worker movements have begun to unite under the cause for socialism as storm approaches. And how does this work? Well, basically, the more the seeds for communism, for socialism have already been sown, the faster this will progress. If it progresses faster than the timeout, we will get a lot of trouble with socialism. In the Italy playthrough, we didn't have to deal with this at all. We were so good, nothing mattered, don't worry about it. But here, well, we have a lot of poor people, we have very few loyalists, we have a lot of turmoil, we have a lot of people that are very popular that really hate us, namely, obviously, this guy. 160 popularity, I mean, my god, and he is a communist. And the actual intelligentsia leader is now also a communist. Yeah, we're gonna head into some trouble here, I think. I really like this, you know, even if I wanted to. I'm pretty sure I couldn't stop this journal entry. Well, what do you want me to say? People can read here quite a lot, and people are very poor. It's like, yes, that is how our economy works, you fool. Ooh, let's see how long the theocracy can hold itself, yeah? What we're going to do right now is, I think, we're going to open up an unholy alliance, if I may, yep, we can, between the theocracy and the industrialists. We're not a big fan of them so far, but we need to make one thing sure here. Do not drift into communism. What else might we do here? We could actually change this. I mean, we really could. There's not really much opposing it, I guess, but it's not in line with what the theocracy wants. Now, we're not going to change out of this voluntarily. We might switch into this, though. I think that's actually quite possible, yeah. Let's move into interventionism here. And this really is a tumultuous time. Look at that. We now have the Republic of San Marco rising up against Austria Hungary as well. Is this the moment to move in against Austria Hungary? No, no. France is very scary. France is extremely scary. I don't like it, okay? The continent of Europe is really holding tight. Oh god, okay. Well, at the very least, we do have a republic with actual elections again in the United States of America. That is nice to see. I think we are on a good trajectory, but we are also on a trajectory maybe away from theocracy and into communism. But that's something for the future. We explored the nihilist journal entry today. Let me check whether I can do that again. Yes, I will reduce your autonomy again. Boom, there you go. We are in a decent enough position, but we are by no means strong enough to defeat our enemies on our own terms. Let's just hope that maybe some of this results in some of our allies. By the way, they actually lost Gibraltar. Well, with that, I will leave you right here, and I'll see you later, alligator.